Hello and welcome to Jessika Olivia skapar, a podcast with me, Jessika, about crafting. Mainly crafting with textiles like knitting, sewing, but also about other things like ceramics, wood carving, living on Gotland, and all things like that. So my name is Jessika. I'm living on a farm on Gotland with my partner, our 2 cats. And I like to have a big garden with flowers and veggies. But that's not so much for now. In the winter time I'm doing a lot of creative stuff like knitting and sewing and so on. You can find me on Instagram as Jessikaolivia skapar and on Ravelry as Jessikaolivia. When I started this podcast, I was podcasting in Swedish, and then this autumn I started to podcast even in English. So I made 4 episodes in English, but many of my Swedish followers wanted to have me back in Swedish. So for this new year I want to try out to make 2 episodes. So to please many as possible, I'm doing 1 episode in Swedish and another episode in English. So it will be 2 episodes, and I'm starting from 0, you can say, so it will be episode 1 for 2024 in English and in Swedish. So I hope you will stick with me, and I hope you find either language to look at me and to see what I'm doing. So you're very welcome to this episode, and this will be a recap of what I have been doing since last time in late November and December. It will also be like a recap for last year, what I have been making, and some plans for the new year for 2024. And I also want to mention that in January my podcast having a birthday, so my podcast will be 2 years old, and that's fantastic. I want to later this year, maybe in February for next update, I want to announce a giveaway to celebrate 2 years of podcasting. But now jumping to what I have been crafting since last time. So I showed you last time that I was knitting some socks. This is a sock designed by Sjösvärd that is called A Shortcut to Mushroom Socks, and I knitted them in Ramma Fino in this beautiful orange rust color, and then I embroidered little white dots on the mushrooms, and I'm super pleased with the outcome of them. I really like this pattern, this design. It's a toe-up construction with this short row heel, and it fits pretty good on my heel and was pretty easy to make a nice heel actually, because when I have been doing shorter heels before, I think it created big holes, but this time it went pretty good. I hope these socks will be durable, even if they are knitted in Ramma Fino, that is untreated wool yarn. But I'm super pleased with these socks for autumn and winter. Next up, I have been knitting 4 gifts for Christmas actually. So I've been knitting like a cowl or a neck warmer for my mom, and it's called Spring Neck Warmer by Justyna Larkowska. And I knitted that one in Lana Gatto Prestige, that is a kashmir yarn in a very nice green color. And I made it for my mom and she really enjoyed it. So, and I also showed you last time that I was knitting some slippers that is called Raggtossa. That is a free pattern on Järbo that I knitted in 7 Brothers. There is a Finnish wool, Finnish sock yarn that is a little bit thicker. And all of those things I don't have here, so I'm of course gonna show you pictures of them. Some of them I don't have separate pictures, so I will insert like a picture of them all together. I also knitted a hot water bottle cover that is called Air hot water bottle cover, and that one is designed by Sjösvärd. I knitted this one in Rauma Vams in 2 colors that I had at home and gifted it to my sister. I brought one hot water bottle for myself, but haven't knitted any cover for it yet, but I will do it soon, I guess, because I want to have one by myself. And I also gifted a hat that is an Oslo hat by Petit Knit to my father, but that one I knitted earlier this year, so I haven't knitted it now, but I gifted it now, so they have been waiting for Christmas. And in December I have been knitting 2 pairs of mittens, so I wanted to participate in Emelie Brandens Mysteriejulvante for mittens. So I have been following her mystic knit along and made myself a pair of mittens. These mittens are knitted in Nutiden yarn in these 2 very Christmassy colors, I guess. So the red color is Amanita and the beige color is called Rågad. And I really like the fit of them. It became very cozy and warm when I washed them, and I tried to make them very smooth in the inside, even with a little comb, like a little brush. And they're pretty long, so you can have them under the jacket without getting any cold in there. I made a little change of the dominance because in Emelie's design she had the opposite color, so she had the white as background and the red, or the color as for the contrast, but I made the opposite, and it gave a little bit different look out of it. But I like it. I'm pleased with it, and it's me gonna wear it. But in the beginning, I did as she did, like the light color as the dominance, and then I changed to the dark color. So if you see here, you can see that it's the difference between them, but it's okay, it's not gonna show anyways. But I'm very pleased with this Mr. Mittens, and it's very Christmassy and very warm. I've also made another pair of mittens because I wanted to have a very thick pair of mittens. So I wanted to find a pattern that was made with 2 layers that had like a lining mitten as well. So this pattern is a pattern from Helen Olsson that is known as Garnfrun on Instagram, and the outer layer is a pretty simple construction with these braids and this femme gusset. And these ones are, the outer layer is made from one strand of Lettlopi and one strand of Mohair. And then they have a mitten inside as well. So they have a lining. And the lining in the pattern, it calls for 2 strands of mohair, but I have been using one strand of a kashmir yarn instead. So this yarn is a Lana Gatto Prestige kashmir yarn, and it have a very nice construction, how you make the lining and everything. And the pattern says that you should first knit the outer layer and then the lining, and then afterwards wet blocking. But I actually wet blocked the outer layer first and then try to make a nice surface inside and then knitted the inside. And so the whole when I was done, I haven't wet blocked the inside, but I don't think that's necessary because I wanted to have a very thick fabric in the inside, so I didn't want to change the look of the outside so much. So I have tried with a brush and everything inside the mitten. So I'm very pleased with these ones as well. So now I have 2 pairs of new mittens to use, and I like them both. And I highly recommend this pattern if you live in a cold country, that if you need a pair of warm mittens that needs a lining, I can recommend these ones. And if you don't want to have the braids, you can leave out the braids and make just a plain mitten if you want. And because I did a lot of Christmas gift knitting in December, I haven't done so much knitting on the previous, or like on the projects that I have ongoing. Because in December I made an everyday vlogmas on Instagram with reels for day 1 to day 24 in December. So if you want to, you can go to my Instagram and look at all those reels in afterhand if you want to, but they're still there. So it didn't become any regular episode in December because of that. But I'm working on my sweater that is called Bjära sweater, and it's a design by Sjösvärd. I have been showing this before, and now I have cast it off for the hemline. I have knitted one sleeve that is all that is missing the cuff, and then I have been starting with the next sleeve. So it needs a little bit more than half a sleeve and then 2 cuffs, and it's knitted up pretty fast because it's on 6mm needles, so it's pretty fast, and it's on 2 strands of Nutiden yarn, so it will be a very thick and warm sweater for winter time. So I want to have it finished soon so I can start wearing it. And then one thing that I think I talked to you about what my plans were for last time. I wanted to to knit a pair of slippers. So these slippers are the slippers that is called There and Back Again slippers. That is inspired by the Hobbit movies. This is a pattern designed by Tania Barley with this slip stitch motif that is very nice and have this I-cord opening. So this one is finished, not blocked yet, as you can see. And then I have just started up with the next slipper, so I haven't got so far with this yet. So I'm gonna continue with that one. And this is Nutiden in the colorway Vägen hem that I have some leftovers with. So soon to be a pair of slippers. So now it's time to summarize the year 2023. So in total I have knitted up 8.5 to 9 kilos of yarn, and out of that was 600 grams yarn that I spun myself. So I can be aware of what I'm capable to do, what my limits are and everything like that. This year it have been less knitting than I expected or that I have been doing the previous year, but I have been started to spin, I've been doing some weaving and some sewing, so I'm doing a lot of different things, and things doesn't go as planned always. So, but I want this to be fun, I want this to be enjoyable, and I don't want to stress through things because I need to have gifts or I need to do this or that. I want to do it by less, but also I want to do things that I need in my wardrobe. I'm gonna give you numbers and I'm gonna give you things, how much I have been knitting and things like that. But it's not to compare, that I want to compare with anyone else. It's just that I want to show it to you. So I have been knitted up 1.5 to 9 kilograms of yarn, where 600 grams was hand spun that I spun by myself. So it was one sweater that I spun yarn for and one pair of socks that I spun yarn for. So the big garments that I made was 7 big garments like sweaters and cardigans. So the first sweater I made was Släktgård, a pattern from Järbo Garn that is designed by Garnfrun, that I knitted in a white yarn that is called Select number 6. That is a comb yarn, a Swedish comb yarn. Then I knitted a cardigan that's called Valkyria cardigan, that is a design by Sjösvärd. And that one I knitted in 2 strands of Nutiden in the colorway Vägen hem, the same colorway as I'm knitting the There and Back Again slippers. I also knitted Holly sweater by Helen, and this sweater is very nice and I've been using it a lot. I've been wearing it outside, working in the garden, and it's a lovely layering piece. And this sweater I knitted in 2 strands of Nutiden in the colorway Härden and the colorway Snö. Then I knitted a Wayfar Raglan by Ulven, and I made this marled one with 1 strand of Nutiden in the colorway Mening and another strand of Nutiden in the colorway Glimt. Then we have Step by Step sweater by Florence Miller that I knitted up with my handspun yarn. So 500 grams of handspun DK2 worsted weight yarn into that sweater. And I'm very proud of that sweater because I spun the yarn by myself, and I'm very pleased with the result. Then I made a shawl. It's called Embla shawl, and it's a pretty small shawl that is very nice for underneath, like a big shawl, or if you just need to have a little bit more warmth around your neck. It's a shawl designed by Sjösvärd that I have been knitting up in a yarn from Fru Valborg that is called BFL Gotland. Then I knitted one more Wayfarer raglan, so I knitted 2 Wayfarer raglan this year, and the second one I knitted up in 1 strand of Nutiden in the colorway Omje, but also 1 strand of silk mohair, and so it's a little bit thinner. I knitted a field day cardigan by Osetta in BFL Masham DK from Woolen Twine, and this cardigan I've been used a lot this autumn. I also knitted a Hönsestrick cardigan to a child, and that was very fun. And then I knitted one more shawl, the Autumn Tales shawl by Osetta, that I knitted in Nutiden in the colorway Linärva. I also knitted quite a lot of small things. I knitted 1 hat, 2 pairs of slippers, 4 pairs of socks, 2 pairs of mittens, and like 3 small projects like the hot water bottle cover and so on. Those were the knitted things. I have also been weaving some things. I was weaving quite a lot this springtime. So first I was weaving a shawl, or a long shawl in alpaca yarn in a gray shades. Then I made some woven kitchen towels in a cotton yarn. Then I made some woven and then felted pieces in ramavans that you can use for outside, like sitting on outside to not be cold. I don't know the name of it in English. In Swedish it's called sittunderlag. I've also been spinning a lot of yarn. I've been spinning approximate 1.6 kilograms of yarn, and out of that I've been knitted 600 grams of them. Some single skeins and other skeins are still in my stash for using up next year. So I've been sewing some squares that is soon to be made a fancy forest quilt. So it's some squares with different animals that I'm gonna put together to a bigger quilt. So this quilt I want to finish next year. Then I sewed a dress for my mom that I gifted her for Mother's Day in May. And I've also been sewing a lot of project bags. I don't know how many, but quite a lot of project bags that I'm very happy that some of you have brought from me, and I'm very happy for that. And the project bags I made from my eco-printed fabrics. Then I have been sewing 7 cushion covers. 4 of them was made from my eco-printed fabrics. In the summertime I made some clothes, and there was like a matching set with a top and bottoms, like 2 bottoms. It was like one long pants with long legs and one with short legs, like a shorts. And there was a matching green fabric. And the last thing that I have been sewing, like a bigger garment, was a dress that I made for our wedding in August. That is called the Odette dress by Veronica. And this year I've been dyeing quite a lot of fabrics and yarn with natural dyeing. So I dyed a lot of eco-printed fabrics with flowers and leaves from the garden, but I also being dyed up a sweater that I didn't like the color, so it was a very light pink color that I over dyed with walnut husks, and I really like the color now, that is more deeper beige color now. So I over dyed it. And I also dyed some yarn with walnut husks and with marigolds. I'm planning for next year how the garden's gonna be, so I'm planning to be planting some flowers for eco printing and for dyeing. So that was a wrap up for the previous year. I'm very pleased with the outcome, with everything that I have been achieved. I'm very happy for that, even if I hope for next year that I will have more time, even more time for my crafting, because it's very important for me to have that all time, to have so much time for crafting, because it's what I really like to do. So I hope it will be more knitting and more spinning, more weaving, more everything, so to say. I made an inspiration make 9 to inspire you and show you what's my plans for next series. So I'm gonna show you the ones individual and we're gonna talk about them. So the first inspiration is that I want to be knitting and felting and doing some embroidery, like these slippers are very adorable, or to make mittens and embroidering on them. That would be very nice, I guess. Doing some embroidery on knitted garments. Then I want to sew more dresses. I want to wearing more dresses next year, and I want to sew some basic dresses that I can wear a lot at work and at home, in like light cotton or linen. Then I want to spin more yarns. I have quite a big stash of Nutiden fibers that I want to spin off, and so I don't want to buy more fibers before I spin up mostly what I have. And then I have some plans for spinning, what I'm gonna do from the yarns later on. As we come to the next inspiration is that I want to weave with my hand spun. So I want to make a big wrap with my hand spun yarn with a weaving technique. So my weft is 80 centimeters long, so I want to use the whole width and to make a very nice wrap, like something like between a blanket and a shawl, to snuggle up in, or to have in the sofa or in the bed. Yeah, with handspun yarn. So I want to spin a little thicker yarn. I want to make patchworks, sew some garments with patchwork, more sewing bags with patchwork inspired motifs and graphic motifs, and yeah, that would be very nice to use some small fabric scraps that I have, and make some nice garments and pieces. I also want to use my handspun for knitting as well. So I'm planning to make some with different colors, like like Fair Isle knitting with my husband. Maybe it will be like a cowl or a headband, maybe even a sweater with my husband. That would be very nice. And maybe I can blend up with some non-handspun, but for the color work in handspun. That would be very nice. The previous year I was doing some pottery. I was going to 2 pottery courses this autumn, and I want to do more of that. So I actually signed up for a pottery course in March, I guess it was. So I'm gonna do some more pottery and throwing on the wheel. It's gonna be super fun. I want to do more of that. So I want to at least go to 1 pottery course this year. And I have an exciting news for you, that I got my grandmother's knitting machines. So when my grandmother passed away, my aunt got the knitting machines, and now I have got the knitting machines from my aunts. So my grandmother had 2 knitting machines for different types of yarn, and she actually have one as well that can make some patterns, and it can make both pearls and both knit stitches and purl stitches. So it's kind of a special one. So I want to learn how to knit on a knitting machine. So maybe I'm not gonna do big garments, but I want to try out. I want to make things out of it, actually. So that's I'm very excited for, and I want to start with that pretty soon, I guess. And for the last inspiration, I want to knit cardigans. I need to have cardigans in my wardrobe, and I need to have basic cardigans, actually. And I found this very nice design that is a design by Rillerud, and it's you buy 1 pattern and then you get 20 different or something or more of cardigans. You can design your own cardigan with a simple hacks. So it's called Hack It Cardigan, and you can basically design your own cardigan from that. So she mentioned hacks like there is one basic cardigan, and then you can hack that cardigan. So you can hack it for different gauge, so you can have different yarn and different needles, and you can hack it for different constructions. Always top down, but if you want to do it like yeah, different textures, different looks, stripes, V-neck, rounded neck, different edging, I-cord edging, or yeah, a lot of different ways how to construct the cardigan. So I want to design my own cardigan with the help from this pattern, and to make it as I want. So that's very exciting as well. So I think that was it for the inspiration. For next year, I want to knit more, I want to weave more, I want to spin more, and I want to combine all those things together. I want to do more pottery and gardening things as well, and of course deco printing. So I have a lot of plans and a lot of things that I want to do next year, and I hope you want to stick with me and see what I will come up to this next year. So thank you for being here, and for next episode in February I am going to have a giveaway, so stay tuned for that as well. So thank you for today, thank you for sticking here with me, and have a good start of the new year. Bye!